The Saudi regime has been down on its luck. The Saudis have been losing almost on all fronts. One of their foremost problems is Riyadh's war on Yemen. The Saudis invaded their southern neighbor in March of 2015, but they have failed to make any gains from that war, which has become one of attrition. Yemen's Ansarullah fighters, also known as Houthis, and their allied army units have the upper hand now in the face of the Saudis and their so-called coalition consisting of several wealthy Arab states. Over the course of the battle, the Yemenis have grown capable of launching missile attack deeper and deeper into Saudi Arabia. The invasion of Yemen has added yet another black mark to Riyadh's record, which is already bleak. The Saudi war on Yemen seems unwinnable. This has prompted the kingdom to try and drag the US into the war to salvage its close ally in the Middle East.
Of course, Saudi Arabia would like more full US backing for its campaign in Yemen. The United States agrees with Saudi Arabia in trying to offset at least what it regards as Iran's role in Yemen, although that's, of course, greatly exaggerated and blown out of proportion.
This is also the case with Syria, where the Saudi regime has already lost this proxy war as the Syrian forces have pushed the militants supported by Riyadh to the brink of total defeat.
Of course, Iran, Syria, and Russia have a kind of working alliance in the case of Syria. Syria, of course, is much more an immediate issue, both for American officials and for public opinion, than the war in Yemen, which has gotten much less importance and is just objectively not as important as Syria.
Ironically, the Saudis have fallen from grace with many in the US political spectrum. The same political system in America, which has traditionally supported Saudi Arabia since the kingdom was created decades ago, is now showing signs of parting with Riyadh over its involvement in 9/11 terror attacks.
But Saudi Arabia doesn't have the power to put much pressure on Washington. It has much less power to do so than it used to, for the reasons I just mentioned earlier. So that the United States actually is going to, just the opposite is happening. The United States is going to try to get Saudi Arabia at least to give the appearance of not being so reckless and so harmful to civilians and killing civilians and so forth in Yemen.
The Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act, or JASTA, which has been approved by both the US House of Representatives and the Senate, landed a heavy punch in the face of the Saudis. JASTA was introduced in the Senate in September of 2015, where it was passed in May of 2016. It was then approved by the House in the September of 2016. The bill was vetoed by President Barack Obama later in September. But the veto was overridden by the Senate and the House and became law. This has angered Saudi Arabia. Riyadh has already threatened to sell up to $750 billion of US assets if the bill were approved. It has yet to make good on the threat.